Did you know that by the time you're 7 to 8 years old, you can already have a solid belief foundation based on programming from your environment? Programming, remember, into that subconscious mind from your parents and from your grandparents. They have all been programmed as well. From television, from media, and other influencers. Before that, when you're a toddler, your brain operates on a low vibrational frequency with no filters, and I've heard that it's similar to hypnosis. At the point where a child's developing their point of view of the world, the information is being downloaded straight into the subconscious mind. It's during these early years that their ideas and viewpoints of the world are formed without even knowing it. We are simply programmed. The late great funny man, American George Carlin, once said, "The world is suffering from mass hypnosis." I'd also like to add to that, the world is suffering from mass manipulation. That's my belief. The influences to all of us are all around the peripheral of our world. Day to day, we're being influenced by all the devices and gadgets, the input into our subconscious and conscious minds. These are hard to escape, but I do believe we can learn to reprogram ourselves. I'd like to show you just how easily your mind can be manipulated. I found this meme online and I thought to share this with you. My job is to keep you distracted while restricting the limits of public debate. I sensationalize talking points to keep you focused on the trivial while ignoring the important questions. I never contradict the status quo because what I really do is deliver state-sponsored propaganda. What I omit is often more significant than what I share. That was by libertyevolution.org. Check them out if you get a chance. And now I'd like to show you how your mind can be tricked and manipulated. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. That was by Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister. Propaganda is very, very successful as a weapon, and your mind has been propagandized. And I will give you some great examples of how your mind can be manipulated by media and other sources. Take a look at the picture on the screen. What do you see? It looks like a thirsty soldier getting a drink of water from another soldier, a heroic soldier perhaps, giving the dying prisoner a drink of water. That's what it looks like. But things aren't always as they seem, and your mind can be manipulated by images that don't give you all of the truth, doesn't give you all of the information. Now I'd like to show you another image. It tells a completely different story, doesn't it? This is an example of how not getting all of the information can influence what your eyes tell your mind that they see. It is the omission of important information that happens to us all the time. Yes, sharks look like goldfish. We don't know who they are oftentimes, but they are there. Before I continue on, I want to tell you and warn you that some of the images that I'm about to show you can be quite offensive, and in fact they have created quite a bit of pushback by the public. My intent is not to create anger or to offend you, but to wake you up, to make you understand how these images and the campaigns, the propaganda campaigns, can influence you greatly through your thoughts and your emotions. The first image here is from Moms Demand Action. One child is holding something that's been banned in America to protect them. Guess which one? We keep Little Red Riding Hood out of schools because of the bottle of wine in her basket. Why not assault weapons? Once again, I'm not trying to influence you on whether these campaigns are good or bad. My intention is just to show you how propaganda works on you. This campaign by Lycra is your skin color shouldn't dictate your future. I'm sure you can understand what this campaign is meaning to say. This is a campaign by Hanes, and it uses what we have been told by the media is hate speech. I am not quite certain what Hanes' goal was with this campaign, but each person probably sees something a little differently and maybe identifies with that hate speech. A campaign, obviously, against hunger. If you don't help feed them, who will? This is from the people of Concordia Children's Services. This caused a lot of anger and uproar from the public. And this was from IP Men's Magazine. If men are your target, make sure you don't miss them. There seems to be a lack of moral ethics in advertising. There's a lot of it out there. If you don't move, you get fat. And I'm not quite sure if this is a German advertisements, sports advertisements, the Olympics. Quite interesting. Don't treat others the way you don't want to be treated. This is an animal rights organization. If you've read anything about this seal clubbing and killing of seals, they're definitely appealing to your emotional state, your deep emotional state in this one. I am not really certain what this one even means exactly, except for it's master lock. I'm taking it means that it's the lock that no one can escape. It's quite heinous and evil in its look. Dolce & Gabbana. I don't know, you tell me. Is this normalizing rape culture? It does definitely look like a gang rape scenario. The Dark Side of Sweetness. It's supposedly a candy campaign, but it does definitely have a dark message to it. The little Asian girl with the chick in the grinder. There's a campaign for, I'm not sure what exactly, but if dying for your faith makes you a martyr, what does it make those whom you killed for your faith? Normalizing drug usage, is that what they want to do here? It looks like they're snorting a piece of clothing. Looks like cocaine. Fashion junkie, it says. Normalizing drug use, I guess. There's another clothing one. Be caught dead in it. Superette fashion, high fashion. Very dark side to that. Programming there as well. This, I could not believe, was created by the World Wildlife Foundation. Obviously you can see what it is, but I'll try to zoom it for you. It says the tsunami killed 100 times more people than 9/11. This definitely had a lot of pushback. The public was really angry about this campaign, as you can understand. Again, there's another point about ethics that's out of control. Here's a very hard one to let sink in first, and it's hard to really understand what the goal was with this one, but after I looked at it for a while, I understood, and this was very evil, but at the same time, it's trying to get a message clear. It says, see through the truth, and it is a school, and there's no walls, so you can see right through to what's happening. There's a playground in the background. There's a teacher teaching a class up here. You can see the pupils paying attention to the teacher. There's a janitor cleaning the floor. But in the background, in what I am assuming is the headmaster's, the principal's office, or the superintendent, he is abusing a child. And one of the greatest propaganda campaigns of all time. If you're American, you definitely recognize this as Uncle Sam. Great old Uncle Sam wants you. Yes, he does. He wants you. He wants your mind. He wants your children's mind. It's the most precious thing that you have, and they want it. Interesting propaganda campaign. Do you see a similarity here? The left one is Stalin, the person who was responsible for nearly 15 million murders. Your country needs you. Do you see a similarity? I want you for U.S. Army. Nearest recruiting station. Interesting, huh? Here's another one. I believe that this one was a European propaganda. If you think that the U.S. and America are the only ones being programmed, the only citizenry being programmed, you would be dead wrong. It happens all over the world. And the propaganda, the programmers, the illusion masters, they are brilliant with it. Step into your place. As you can see, it shows just a regular, everyday officials and workers joining the army. It's the Parliamentary Recruiting Committee that put this propaganda out. Together we can do it. Labor management. Keep 'em firing. These are all part of a World War propaganda machine, a propaganda mill, cranking out propaganda. Just for your information, the definition of propaganda by Webster's Dictionary is ideas, facts, or allegations spread deliberately to further one's cause or to damage an opposing cause. Careless talk got there first. Apparently, during World War II, I believe it was, they had many soldiers were killed because information was given out to the enemy. There's more to that story that I'll give you in another video coming soon. Once again, it's not just Americans who have been propagandized and have had their subconscious or conscious minds manipulated. These are Canadian propaganda, Fight for Her, come with the Irish Canadian Rangers overseas, Battalion Montreal, take up the sword of justice. Women of Britain, come into the factories, ask at any employment exchange for advice and full details. USA Bonds, Third Liberty Loan Campaign, Boy Scouts of America, Weapons for Liberty. World War I is an example of a time in American history where the propaganda mills worked non-stop. And it was quite successful because people could only get their information through the government, and the government only told them what they wanted them to know. Remember, there was no internet, and there was no alternative news media channels like ours. This allowed the programmers easy access to manipulate the thoughts and emotions of the people, and they did so. They wanted to influence the people's thoughts toward war, and the propaganda machines created a picture that the war was worth fighting for. Once the campaign was bought by the people, and they were convinced that going to the war was necessary, that it would unify the nation, they were influenced to buy bonds and so much more. Everyone and their dog was tied to the war emotionally, economically, and politically. Every U.S. president has had their propaganda campaign. That's very important to realize. Every U.S. president has had propaganda campaigns. Have a look at this. Award for careless talk. Don't discuss troop movements, ship sailings, and war equipment. And the greatest propaganda, as far as I'm concerned, of our modern day, of our recent campaigns. Next video, I'm going to tell you a colossal manipulation that the American public bought into. Thank you for tuning in.